Hey guys, it's Candy. Welcome back. Time for another book video. So today I thought it would be fun to share with you guys my top 10 most favorite thriller books that I've read over the past couple of years. I probably could have dug a little deeper than that and shared even more, but when I was going through looking at all my thriller reads of the past couple years that I've given 5 stars to, it wasn't that hard to come up with a list of my top 10 favorites. I figured this was a perfect time of year to share this video. It's almost October, we're getting into spooky season, we're getting into that time of year where we're cuddling up with a blanket and your favorite drink and by the fire maybe even, and getting into a good thriller that's gonna keep you awake at night. So I have a list of 10 books. 3 of them I actually starred to mention to you guys. These are mild thrillers. These are good. They're a mystery thriller book, but they're not gonna like make it where you can't sleep at night. You're not gonna be covering your face because, oh my God, I can't believe how graphically detailed this is. It's gory, it's disgusting. The person who wrote this is, something's wrong with them. Like, it's a mystery thriller, but it's not like that messed up. The rest of the books are pretty freaking messed up. And to me, that's what makes a good thriller. When you're reading it and you're in like, whoever wrote this, something must be wrong with them. We're gonna start with Little Secrets by Jennifer Hillier. I read this one a couple of years ago. No, I read it in last year. I read this in 2021. Reading this book kicked off my love for Jennifer Hillier because just amazing, amazing author. I would say this book, Little Secrets, is a really good place to start if you're not really into reading the really gory, graphic, detailed stuff. A book that's gonna keep you up at night. Like, this book is disturbing because it is about a little boy being kidnapped, and you know, that topic could definitely be triggering to some, but you're not reading a whole lot in this book that you're just like, what the F is wrong with this person? Like, it's a good, scary, intense story, but it's more on the like mystery side of who's doing this, that sort of thing, than the graphically detailed sort of story. So like I said, this is about this girl Marin. She has the perfect life. She married her college sweetheart, beautiful home. She runs her own salon. She has her own business, like upscale salon. That's what it says here in the back. And her husband runs his own company. So they've got more money than they know what to do with. They're really well known in their community. And they're out one night, I'm pretty sure getting ready to Christmas shop or something. And their little boy goes missing. Someone steals him really right out of her hands. Like, I don't even know how exactly it happened. She like turned her back for 1 second and next thing you know, he comes up missing. So the whole story is about digging deep into her life, her husband's life. The relationship isn't all that it seems. And it's really good. The details about the characters in this book are just so good. And then just the whole pace of trying to figure out what happened to her son. There's a ransom situation involved. It's pretty freaking crazy, and I couldn't put it down. Highly recommend. Absolutely love this book. Like, I could read this again for sure, hands down. So going from here, let's jump into Jar of Hearts by Jennifer Hillier. I read on my Kindle. Now this is gonna be almost the exact opposite of what I'm saying about this book. That book is so graphically detailed, so intense. There's a rape scene. There's very graphic cutting up of body scenes. I mean, it is probably about as nasty as you can get. I'm sure you could probably get even worse than that with maybe a Stephen King novel. I haven't read any of his books in a long time, but it's a lot. I had recommended it to so many people before, and I've had people DM me on Instagram and say they couldn't finish reading it. So if you like those kind of really disturbing books, now I'm gonna make myself sound like I'm insane or something, that why would you like to read those kind of books? I don't know, I guess maybe I like to get a little scared, a little grossed out, a little disgusted, a little like this person belongs in a psychiatric ward. Like, that's what I want from a good thriller book. And Jar of Hearts delivers all of that. Like, I don't even know if I can think of a book right now off the top of my head that is that just intense, disgust, like crazy insane. So I definitely recommend that one if you like a really, really good thriller. Okay, going from there, I don't have this book either. I have so many I don't know why I read a lot of thriller books on my Kindle for some reason. The Power Couple by Alex Berenson, I believe is how you say his last name. I don't even know what to say about this book. It's not thriller, disgusting. It's more like a psychological thriller. It is so messed up in the head. Like, God, you just read this book and you're like, you just know there's messed up people like this in real life. I loved that book so much. Once again, you have this super nice couple, lives in the suburbs, have a ton of money. Their life on the outside appears perfect. They have 2 wonderful, healthy teenage children, and they both have jobs working for the government. The wife, Rebecca, works for counterterrorism for the FBI, and her husband works as a coder for the National Security Agency. He actually creates like apps and stuff like that. So their perfect marriage kind of just slipping a little bit. Just being married 20 years, you know, things weren't necessarily perfect anymore. So they kind of want to rekindle their romance and take their kids on a vacation because they both tend to be like workaholics. So they decide to go on a European vacation. So of course, while they're on vacation, their teenage daughter decides she's gonna sneak out in the middle of the night so she can go to a club, and she ends up getting abducted. So kind of a crazy situation. You have a kidnapping with 2 people that work for the FBI and the NSA. Like, what is about to happen, how they end up going through, both sort of have a different plan on how they want to find out who might have kidnapped their daughter. There's twists and turns everywhere you look, and it's just such a good book. So out of the 10 books on this list, I would have to say that The Power Couple is probably my all-time favorite. Definitely at least within the top 3. Sometimes it's hard to say because I love so many of the books that I'm sharing with you guys today. All right, the next book I want to share is The Night Shift by Alex Finley. So this book kind of goes back and forth between current time and 15 years ago. Back in 1999 on New Year's Eve, there were 4 teenagers working at a local Blockbuster, and only one of them ends up surviving. The other 3 teenagers are killed. Basically, the case goes unsolved. Here we are 15 years later, and all of the girls in an ice cream store are murdered this time. Again, with only 1 survivor. And it just so happens when the police are questioning their survivor from the ice cream store, she's like, the only person that I will speak to is the lone survivor from the murders that occurred at the Blockbuster store 15 years ago. So there ends up being, you know, this connection that those 2 have with each other. As the police are investigating the case, trying to figure out what happened, they're trying to decide if they think that the cases are connected. There's quite a few different characters involved for various reasons, and I loved all their different viewpoints. I loved all the different angles coming at the story while they're trying to solve the crimes. I remember reading this and just being really sad when the book was over, because I just felt like, because there's like one of the characters that's pregnant, one of the characters whose life just takes a completely different turn, and I was just sad to say goodbye to these characters. But from a mystery thriller standpoint, really, really good book. Did not see the ending coming, and highly enjoyed this book. Next up is Hidden Pictures by Jason Recolak. I actually just sat down and filmed my review of this book for my September reads, because I try to not wait until the end of the month to film my reviews, because then I'm like, wait a second, what was this book about? This book is still pretty fresh in my mind though. I won't get quite as detailed as I did in my end of the month book review, because that'll be coming up in 2 weeks, so I don't want to repeat myself. But basically this is about a girl who, 18 months sober, ends up staying with this couple so she can be a nanny for their little boy. The little boy is super artistic. He draws a bunch of pictures, and it ends up that his pictures kind of start to become a little bit disturbing. Next thing you know, he's drawn like a person buried in the hole, and the person with the shovel standing at the top. And his pictures that were once just innocent little pictures are now becoming more and more disturbing. And when everyone asks him, like, why are you drawing these pictures? He's pretty much just saying that his make-believe friend is telling him to draw these pictures. And the nanny is convinced that something more is going on in this situation while the parents are just brushing it under the rug. So she starts doing some questioning, asking around, a little bit of investigative work, trying to figure out what is wrong with this little boy. Why is he drawing all these disturbing pictures? Is it a ghost? Something wrong with the kid? Like, what the heck is happening? And it's just really intense, really scary. Like, this is one you're gonna read and you're gonna be a little bit creeped out if you're reading it at home in the dark at night. So be careful of that. But it's the perfect spooky story for this time of year. And the part of the book that makes this so stinking interesting and unique is all of the drawings are shared throughout the book. So you're gonna see pictures like this throughout the book that just make it that much more intriguing. Another book on my Kindle is Rock, Paper, Scissors by Alice Feeney. This was the first book that I had ever read by Alice Feeney, and I loved it so much. It is about this couple. They've been married for 10 years, and their relationship really isn't in the best state. Well, it ends up that they win a trip to go on vacation in Scotland, and they decide to take the trip for their anniversary to celebrate their 10 years of marriage. A weird part of the book is self-confessed workaholic and screenwriter Adam Wright has lived with face blindness his whole life. He cannot recognize friends or family or even his own wife. That was such a weird part to the story. Like, how does that happen? Is that something that can happen to someone in real life? I wonder. So they both kind of feel like this trip is going to be a last ditch effort to make their marriage work. So they're both kind of tense and stressed out, wanting to have the perfect vacation, and all this really creepy stuff starts happening. And you just have no idea like where all of this is coming from. Like, is she trying to creep him out? Is he trying to mess with her? It's just all so odd and intriguing that you fly through the book because you're just so freaked out by the stuff happening to this couple. You can't stop reading. So the whole time you're just trying to figure out, like, one of them is lying, and I don't know. I did not have the book figured out at all. I just remember getting to the end of the book and thinking, I want to go back through and reread the book again, because every year on their anniversary, the wife would write the husband a letter, but she would never let him read them until now. And so you're just like, now that you know how it ends and what has been happening this whole time, you're just like, I need to go back and read all these letters because it's really freaking creepy. Next book is Dark Matter by Blake Crouch. This would be another one that I would consider a really mild thriller. This is more of a mystery, and it's a sci-fi mystery. I mean, I guess it depends on what your definition of a thriller is, because it is really intense, really kind of, it's scary. It's scary because you don't know what's going to happen to these people, but yet it's not like spooky scary. So basically, this is about a guy who one day leaves his apartment. He was about to have dinner with his wife and his son, walks down the street and around the corner to meet a friend for a drink, and he gets jumped as he's walking back home. Well, it ends up that he wakes up and he's in a lab, in like a science medical type facility. And he is being told when he wakes up that his life that he's known it, his wife and his kid, are not his wife and kid. That this is his real life. He's a scientist. That basically he is part of this amazing science experiment, basically, that is so remarkable, is just going to change the future forever. But he's not happy because he doesn't want that life. He doesn't want to be this famous, well-known, rich scientist. He wants his life back that he knows, which is with his wife and his son, and he's willing to go through anything to find his way back to where he came from. So it's definitely very sci-fi, a little bit of terminology in there that you're like, what the heck am I reading? I really don't know, but I'm just gonna keep reading because the overall plot of the story is so good, so interesting. I don't know. It was really good, and I'm excited to read more books by Blake Crouch. I did read Recursion. I don't know if it was earlier this year or last year. I didn't love that one as much as Dark Matter. Another book that I would say is more on the tame side is The Good Sister by Sally Hepworth. This is more of a very cute, loving sister relationship, two sisters who would do anything for one another. So you have Fern, who lives a very structured life. She works in the local library. She wakes up, eats dinner, goes to sleep, takes a shower, everything every day at the same exact time. She visits her sister, Rose, twice a week for dinner, the same time, the same 2 days every week. She does kind of have a little bit of a mental disability, like something's wrong with her. You never really figure out quite what it is, but she's afraid of like bright lights, crowds. She's anxious when she's with like people that she doesn't know. And so her sister Rose has always been there to kind of help her through those difficult parts in life. So when Rose discovers that she can't get pregnant, she decides to tell Fern how important it is for her to have a baby, that her and her husband are having fertility problems, and she didn't know what she was gonna do. And Fern, the kind-hearted person that she is, decides that she's just gonna go out and find herself a man to get her pregnant so she can give her sister a baby. Like, that's how much she loves her sister, but also shows that she doesn't like really think things through quite clearly. So it becomes her mission to find this man, get pregnant, give her sister a baby. And as time goes on, all these family secrets start to unravel. And the story, when it just all of a sudden takes this twist, you are so emotionally disturbed by the fact that a person would do this to their own sister. It's just unbelievable. You're just like so like angry, disturbed by what's about to happen. It was so good, so sick. And this is the second book that I've read by Sally Hepworth. The other one was called The Mother-in-Law. I gave that one 4 stars, but I did really enjoy that book as well. We actually read The Mother-in-Law as a book club book, and everybody really enjoyed it. The next book is The Summer House by James Patterson. And this book is just such a suspenseful, crazy intense book filled with murder after murder. You can't even keep things straight. It's so crazy. You're trying to figure out who done it. I was not on the right track whatsoever. And the amount of twists and turns and unexpected happenings in this book, just, I loved it so much. I don't know why I don't read a lot of James Patterson. I know he has so many books. If there's any James Patterson books you guys really, really enjoyed and want to recommend, comment those down below, because I loved it so much that I would like to read more of his books. I just don't know where to start because there's so many of them. Last book I'm going to share with you guys is The Kind Worth Killing by Peter Swanson. And Peter is known to be a great, great thriller author. I've read a couple of his books. The Kind Worth Killing is definitely my favorite. I remember finishing reading this book and my jaw was like dropped, like, what in the heck just happened? So this guy ends up meeting this girl while he's on an airplane, kind of unexpected. So they're on the airplane and they're basically playing this game with each other where they just share some truths. And he ends up confiding in this girl and saying that his marriage is not what he thought it was gonna be. He's really not in love with his wife anymore. And honestly, if it was up to him, he might just think about killing her. And the girl that he's on the plane with is like, you know what? I'd like to help you. Let's do it. After all, some people are the kind worth killing. So they go their separate ways, and then begins the bonding of these two characters while they're planning on murdering his wife. So things kind of take a turn. The girl has kind of a past that she wasn't forthcoming. So there's a lot about this girl that he doesn't know, like kind of what he's getting himself wrapped up into. And it becomes kind of like a whole game of cat and mouse. And at the end of the day, they both cannot survive. So it's kind of like, who's going to blame the other one? Who's going to kill the other one? And the whole time they have a very determined detective investigating the whole thing and kind of on their trail. So good. So that's gonna be it, guys. That's gonna wrap up the top 10 thriller books that I recommend to you guys. I would say my top 3 are definitely A Power Couple, A Kind Worth Killing, and Hidden Pictures. I really liked Hidden Pictures. So if you guys would like to comment down below your most favorite all-time thriller book, to give me some recommendations and to give anybody else watching this video recommendations, please do so. Thank you again so much for watching, guys, and we will see you next time. Bye, guys.